Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 329. Be the kind of judge you'd want. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I love the title of this week's podcast. Be the kind of judge you'd want. Isn't that cool? So last week, I send out a weekly email. It's called Thirsty Thursday, and I share a lesson or some sort of coaching I've applied to my own life, personal stories, wins. I share the podcast episode, and I usually share a picture of something that's happened in my personal life for the week. So if you're not on my email list, you absolutely should go get it just for that one email. Just go to angelamascenik.com, and then on that main page, there's a little space for you to sign up and get a free Start Here guide. And when you do that, you'll be on my email list and you'll get my Thirsty Thursday emails. But last week I sent an email about this judge, right? So I had this picture of Lady Justice, which is, lawyers use it or whatever. It's like this picture of a Roman female, Greek goddess kind of lady. And she's holding out this scale. So a traditional looking scale with weight on each side, and you put something in the scale and either it's up or down, right? But she's holding it out, and it looks like the scale has even weight to it. It's an even scale. And so when we think about justice or a judge, right? A judge or a jury will take in all of the evidence from both sides, right? So like the plaintiff side and the defendant side, okay? And then they take in all of the evidence of both sides. And ideally what happens is that there's equal evidence, right? There's equal evidence for both sides. And then there's a judgment that comes, right? But what we do when we think about our progress to changing our relationship with alcohol, it's very weighted on the failure side. We're putting way more weight on that side of the scale than we are on our success side, right? Or our wins side. And I want to talk about that today because, first of all, this is just how the human brain is programmed. We're programmed to see the negative in things. It sucks. Okay? It's just the way it is. And so we actually have to work and be conscious to balance out this scale so that you don't give up. Okay? So if you just keep that weight on the failure side, all the way to the bottom, and the other side of your wins is way up here in the air. I'm using my hands to, I wish you could see me, measure out this scale, right? If we hold on to the weight of those failures and we don't properly rebalance, we lose confidence, we lose hope, and we don't progress as much as we possibly could, right? Because we're not seeing the wins. And I promise you, if you get on a coaching call with me, I'm going to be that judge for you, that fair judge that helps you see both sides of the story. Okay, I'm going to pull out the wins that you've had. But I want you to learn how to do this on your own. When you're not coaching with me or in one of my programs, you have this resource, this podcast, to tune into when you need to be more fair to yourself. Okay, and you need to hold up that Lady Justice image to yourself and be like, okay, this feels a little weighted on the shame side or the failure side. How can I balance this and see my progress, even when I'm feeling like I'm doused in shame right now? Okay, so let's just look at patterns to start. So usually this scale is weighted heavily on the shame side or the failure side when we haven't been following our plans, right? Or our goals, and we don't feel like we're making progress. So usually that happens after a recent overdrink, okay? Or maybe you've had several days of just saying screw it, and you been drinking like you normally do, and you know that that's not really what you want, right? You're conscious enough at this point to be like, what am I doing? Right? And so then here we go with the self-judgment. And that scale is going to be heavily weighted with the shame and the disappointment and the frustration that you have because of, you not doing what you really want to do. All right? It's normal. So when you recognize that you're sort of in this unfair scale situation, the best thing that you can do is start to fill in the side with some wins. Okay? So like ask your brain, even when you're feeling bad about yourself, okay, I am real good at picking out my failures. We've loaded that baby up as far as she'll go right now. And it doesn't feel fair because I know that are things that I'm doing that can that can balance this out a little bit better. Okay. We often put so much weight on just like one more drink than we said we were going to, or one day we didn't do the worksheets. And if you're in one of my coaching programs, or you didn't do an evaluation, or maybe you skipped a workout, or maybe you didn't eat the food that you said that you were going to. And then like, boom, it all goes down. That scale drops to the floor and the other side just slams up to the sky, right? Or just goes right up to the sky and there's no weight in it. So when you're there, I just want you to recognize your wins. Okay. So get out a piece of paper or your journal and you want to write down your wins. So imagine that scale empty on the win side and you're going to put stuff in there, like literally maybe even draw a picture of that scale, right? And you're going to fill in all the times, say that you paused. Right? You paused, you got conscious of, and you knew what you were doing in the moment. Even if you ended up drinking, that conscious awareness and that pause is a win because you've gained awareness and saw your pattern a little bit clearer. Okay. I promise you it counts. Put it in there. Anytime you wanted to drink, but you didn't do it, put it in there. So maybe you're just reviewing like the week that you just had. Okay. Or the day before. Could be a day, could be the last week, could be the last month. Put in all the times that you wanted to drink but didn't do it. So write out, oh, I remember I wanted to drink on Tuesday night and I didn't do that. Put it in there. Okay, write it down. Anytime you had awareness around a pattern and you observed yourself in that pattern, put it in there. Those teeny tiny moments need to make it onto the scale to weigh it out more proportionately. Okay. Anytime you said no to something that wasn't good for you, even if it wasn't alcohol, maybe you're working on doing less so that you're not so overwhelmed and stretched so thin that you have no reserve at the end of the day to take care of yourself. So maybe you said no to a social outing or no to hosting your in-laws for the second time that day, or, running kids around here and there. So put those wins in there as well. Put the wins in there of anytime you journaled. Anytime you listen to a podcast, anytime you watch a coaching call, anytime that you cared for yourself. Okay, so maybe you went to bed a little bit early. Maybe you chose to have tea at night. Maybe you chose to put your feet up the wall and take a break. Anytime you decided to take some time for yourself so that you wouldn't, spin yourself around and deplete yourself and be in a precarious situation where it's easier to drink. Okay, so I want you to spend some time with that. List out your wins and put them in the scale. Okay, please do this because you will start to feel better about yourself. These scales will be balanced a little bit more and you'll be like, okay, it's not all a wash. I can keep going. You'll have more motivation to keep going if you do this. There's a cost associated with this unfair judgment of yourself. Okay, so when you do that and you don't fill in the wins that you're having on the other side, you begin to lose trust in yourself. And that's a very precarious and dangerous place to be. When you stop seeing progress, you stop trying. And then you're starting to make decisions on what you need to do based on guilt that you have or fear, right? Instead of intention and love. So that could be like, I'm canceling all my social plans because I don't deserve to go out. I can't trust myself, right? So now you're isolating yourself. Not a real good decision right? It doesn't really coming from love for yourself or being intentional. It's coming from not liking yourself and punishing yourself. Okay? Those decisions aren't going to help you move forward and keep going on the path that you're on. So if you recognize that you're being this unfair judge, the way you're talking to yourself, you wouldn't talk to your best friend or your kid that way. We don't want to talk to yourself that way. Okay. And that starts to tick away at your psyche. And then what happens if you do that for long enough, then you stop taking risks. You stop wanting to try again because it's just so painful. You can't handle that failure. That's what I hear time and time again. People's biggest objections to working with me and taking a leap and joining like a program, a paid program, I don't want to fail, because they've ticked away at their psyche for so many years because of this unfair judgment and shame that they have when they don't figure it out and are successful. Okay? I don't want that to be you, friend. It's sad when I hear that because I know that they can. It's just that they don't trust themselves. They don't have the confidence in themselves to try it again and to learn how to fail differently. That's what we're doing here. We're learning how to fail differently right now. Okay? Instead of it being very weighted in the shame, which, other programs and other ways of doing this are. They use like this fear, this guilt, this shame as a motivator, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. When we look at human behavior, what works is telling the whole picture, being nice to ourselves, and being willing to try again, right? Hard, like restrictions and being really hard on ourselves and using guilt to drive our actions doesn't work. Because it doesn't feel good. Remember how we're motivated? We're motivated to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Okay? So that doesn't work for people. And so instead, we need to fill in the other side of the scale with wins so that it can be more equally balanced and you can see the bigger picture, and therefore you'll feel motivated to keep going. Okay? So your work this week is to shift that scale. So you're going to maybe draw a picture of the scales of justice, scales on each side. On one side, you're going to write down everything that you've been labeling as a failure. Be honest with yourself, right? Part of this is like, you got to tell yourself the truth, okay? But just list the facts of it. So maybe it's like, I didn't make a drink plan this week and I drank a bottle of wine every night. Okay? That's it. You don't need to write anything else. Just be fair, but not overly dramatic in your language, okay? And then if you have any other failures or obstacles that, weren't overcome, write those down on that side. And then on the other side, you want to write your wins, okay? The big ones, the small ones, the tiny little awarenesses that you got. You drank your water that day. You took the walk that you said that you would take, right? You took a pause. You put your feet up the wall. All of that stuff needs to go in there. Every pause, every shift, every choice that you made differently, every time you just notice a pattern. Okay. Now I want you to look at both sides of this scale and just, like put your hands out. I'm putting my hands out in front of me and I'm kind of weighing them, right? Sit with it. Ask yourself, am I being the kind of judge I'd want that is fair, compassionate, and wise, right? Imagine that you actually had to go in front of a judge. What kind of judge would you want? Would you want a judge to say you're a piece of shit, you can't ever follow through on anything, you're guilty, you're never going to figure this out? Or would you want a judge that says, you know what, I recognize the work that you're doing here, and to me it looks like you're making progress. Yeah, there's some things to learn from these failures on this side, but keep doing the things that you're doing on this other side. Keep doing those things and just make some tweaks over here. You got this. Which one would you want? The fair, compassionate, and wise one, or the one that's berating you? So you get to be that judge in this situation when you're self-coaching yourself through this stuff. Okay? I like to consider myself a very non-judgmental judge. When you come to me and you get coaching from me, I'm going to help you pull out your wins and your obstacles. And we're going to look at it and we're going to find a path forward That's the thing. It's just, you just need to look at this information now and decide how you can move forward towards your goals. How can you keep going on the path that you're on that will get you to where you want to go? And I promise you, if you don't do this exercise and you only look at what you're losing or what you've failed to do, you're not going to get very far. Okay? Self-trust and confidence and believing in yourself doesn't come from being perfect. It really doesn't. Nobody has a perfect journey on this. It comes from being honest and fair. Okay? You can't keep punishing yourself. You have to look at both sides. So be the kind of judge you want, one who sees your effort, and the one who balances the scale. All right, my friends? And before we go for this week, I have to tell you something very exciting. Are you ready? I have come up with a very fun and engaging way to get support from me and to learn more about my coaching programs. Okay? Are you ready for it? It's called The Path. And I'm very excited about it. It is 4 days. You're going to make one decision to join this mini program called The Path, and it's going to take you on a whole new direction. So what it looks like is you're going to come, and we're going to start out on June. Let me get the dates in front of me. June 2nd, we're going to kick off this 4-day event called The Path. 4 days. On June 2nd, we're going to open with a class, and I'm going to teach you some of the core concepts live that you can start thinking about and mapping them to your specific situation with overdrinking and alcohol. And then the following 2 days, I'm hosting 2 sessions each day where you can come and get live coaching on me. It's kind of like a mini coach-a-thon. So mornings and evenings, afternoons and evenings, we're going to try to cover all the time zones that you can come on and get free coaching by me and everybody else who have joined this little mini coaching-a-thon called The Path. And then on Thursday, June 5th, we're going to wrap it all up. So we're going to take all the coaching topics that we discussed, the class, and we're going to have a wrap-up in a Q&A style format. It's all going to be on Zoom. It's absolutely free. I want you to come in and get a taste of what doing this work and having a coach feels like. I also am going to be sharing with you the details of my 6-month Stop Overdrinking and Start Living coaching program that opens again July 1st, kicks off July 1st for the next cohort. So if you're interested in working on your relationship with alcohol now, like right now, you're ready to go, you don't want to keep kicking the can down the road, you're sick of feeling like shit, you feel like you can't keep doing what you're doing, and you're ready to do it now, come join The Path. I don't have a sign-up page for it yet, but I just want you to save the date for now. So just put on your calendar June 2nd through the 5th, The Path with Angela Mascenik, because I'm going to take you on a path that's going to be different than what you're doing. It's going to lead you down a new way of being. Okay? And a new relationship with alcohol and a new relationship with yourself, which is the most important thing. And I'm so excited about it. It's just a new way, a new approach that I'm thinking about. How can I engage with more people? How can I get more people in and help them, right? Without having a lot of obstacles and signups and registrations and all of that. This is the way. It's called The Path. Kicks off Monday, June 2nd with a class. We'll have 4 live sessions over the following 2 days where you can come on and get coaching with me on any topic. And then on Thursday the 5th, we're going to have a wrap up that kind of highlights all the things that we talked about for the previous days. It's going to be awesome. It's called The Path. 4 days, one decision, a whole new way of being and outlook. All right, my friends? So just put the dates on your calendar for now. If you have any questions, you can email me. But we will be building out the page where you can sign up and register for this. And I'm really excited about it. All right? So don't forget about weighing those scales. Okay, do those exercises. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.